Welcome back to Vintage Family Recipes with Belle. First, I want to give a shout out to my friend Shelby for this wonderful sweatshirt she gave me for Christmas. Thanks, Shelby. Second, we're making banana apple bread tonight. And one of the things that I noticed is that it seems like everyone in my family has a different banana bread recipe. So I decided tonight I would actually start with mine because this is the one that I know the best. The first thing you have to do is peel your bananas and get ready to mash them. I use anywhere from 4 to 6 bananas depending on the size of the bananas. If they're really large, I use 4. If they're small, I'm going to use 6. If there's medium, I use 5. I use my stand mixer. You can mix this either by hand or with a hand mixer. Both work well. If you are mixing it by hand or with a hand mixer, I suggest that you smash the bananas with a fork ahead of time. Because I use my stand mixer, I can just dump them in and the stand mixer will smush them all up nicely for me. Then I'm going to add my eggs and my sugar. Mix those together so they're nice and creamy. Then I add what I consider the small dry ingredients: the salt, the baking powder, baking soda, ginger, cardamom, nutmeg, cinnamon, cloves, allspice. I put all of those in there. And then I do a smell test. So I kind of move the air more toward my nose with my hand and I sniff. And do I like the smell? And if I don't like the smell, I have to figure out what I feel is missing so I can add more. And today it was cinnamon. Sometimes it's nutmeg. It's very, very rarely ginger or cloves. I will put in the standard amount that I usually use or close to it, but spices are that thing that I just kind of go with. Then I add vanilla. I am making my own vanilla now, and so I didn't start it right away, so it's still becoming vanilla. And so I do have vanilla paste, and I'm going to use that instead of actual vanilla extract. The paste works just as well. It tastes just as good. You really can't tell the difference. I'm going to measure my milk and put it aside. I'm going to melt my butter. And once I've melted my butter, I'm going to mix it in. Now that it's all mixed together, I'm going to start doing the flip combo. Cup of flour, mix. Part of the milk, mix. Another cup of flour, more milk. The last cup of flour and an extra half cup, the rest of the milk, and mix it all together. Making banana apple bread is really not hard. It just takes a little bit of practice if you haven't done it before because of the amount of spices I use. Lots of people make banana bread with nuts. As you know, I don't like nuts, but I want a very moist, creamy tasting banana bread. And so I use apple to get that texture and consistency. The recipe with all of the measurements will be down in the descriptions as usual. Once I'm ready to peel the apple, I'm going to turn my oven on to 350 degrees so it can start to preheat, because mine preheats pretty quickly. If yours is slow, start it sooner in the recipe, but mine is fast, so I don't start it too soon. I'm going to peel and chop my apple. I'm not going to mix it with a mixer. Even if I were using a hand mixer, I would not mix the apple with a hand mixer. Once I scrape the apple into the bowl, I'm going to use a spatula to get everything off the sides, everything off the bottom, and totally mix my apple in with the dough. After I've done that, I'm going to place the batter equally into 2 loaf pans. If you don't want to make 2 loaves, just cut the recipe in half. I always make 2 loaves because we keep one and I give one away regularly. This is probably one of the recipes that I get requested the most often from people. Hey, will you make a banana apple bread for me? Sure. I can whip it up really quickly. Yes, it takes an hour to cook, but in the grand scheme of things, it's super fast, super easy. It's another one of those recipes that's great to do with your kids. I use the Pampered Chef stone loaf pans, and mine are so well seasoned that I don't need to grease or flour them. If you are using a regular loaf pan, then yes, you're going to want to grease and flour before you put the mixture in. I like the stones because for me, the bread comes out perfectly every single time. I love my Pampered Chef stones. I then place the bread in the oven for an hour at 350 degrees. If your oven's a little bit slower, you might need 70 minutes. Check it after 60. Once it's done, now I'm going to pull it out of the oven, put it on the rack and let it cool. After about 10 minutes, I'm going to take a knife and go around the sides, flip it over, pop it out. Let it cool for about another 10 minutes, and then slice up that first loaf so people can have the bread really warm. It's so delicious, y'all. My husband, who loves butter, doesn't even add butter to his. And my son loves it without the butter as well. My other son and daughter and his wife, daughter-in-law, my daughter-in-law actually, they love it too. So then what I do is I let it really, really cool, and then I wrap it in saran wrap and put it up out of the reach of the dogs, because my dogs love it too, and they will steal it and eat it. So now it's time for our taste test of banana apple bread. As I said earlier, they've eaten this multiple times, but it's become tradition to do a taste test. So there you go, banana apple bread. Fairly fresh out of the oven.
Yeah, it's still warm.
I love this stuff.
Yeah.
What's your favorite part about it?
Moist.
Okay.
That's
the apples.
moist, yeah.
Yeah, that's the apples. That's the secret ingredient.
That and the spices.
How banana bread always has spices, yeah.
Not as many as I put in. Most banana bread only use cinnamon and nutmeg.
I don't want to know what you do. Don't ruin it.
Oh, okay. I won't ruin it.
It's really good though.
I hope you enjoyed this video. It is the first one that I have made completely by myself. Hopefully it's good. We'll see. If you haven't yet, I'd love it if you liked, commented, subscribe. Have a great night, and we'll see you next time on Vintage Family Recipes with Belle.